Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prongobbles, and I am here to explain what I'm sure has been on your mind recently, the state of the Skylanders market. As I'm sure you've heard, US President Donald Trump has, as of less than a week ago, imposed tariffs worldwide. As a simple explanation, and to spare you from any of the politics of it all, recently the Trump administration came forward and enforced major tariffs on all countries it does trade with. The baseline rate was 10% imposed to all countries, although most saw percentages that were a lot higher than that 10. Some of those examples of the original rates are highlighted here. They were 54% to China, 24% to Japan, 25% to South Korea, and so on and so on. Here in the green, you'll see an explanation that all a tariff really is a tax on any product or service being imported into a country. So, if an entity from the UK, for example, wanted to sell a product to the States, that product would have an extra 10% charge from the tariff newly imposed on it. Unfortunately for you Americans, you as the consumer will generally have to pay more due to that extra charge. Here we have a little bit more elaboration on the original rates of these tariffs and how they were decided on, although since I originally wrote this script and planned this video, there has been some major changes to these rates. Essentially, the White House has backed down from the rates they were originally going to impose, reducing all countries to the same 10% tariff. Here is a very unnecessary table that pretty much shows exactly that. China, however, as you'll see at the top, has had a massive increase, and I'll get to that shortly. But it is worth mentioning that these reductions to 10% seem to only be for a 90-day period, and after that, nobody really has any clue how they'll change. It's possible that they'll return to the originally announced rates, which again were those original numbers in the table. So if you are watching this video after that 90-day grace period, it might be worth doing a bit of research on your own to see how it's changed. But what exactly does all of this mean for Skylanders prices? For me at least, here in Australia, and for you if you are anywhere else outside of the United States, jack shit. Since the nature of tariffs serves only to add cost to the importing of any goods from overseas, even for me in Australia, none of that charge is relevant to me. If I wanted to buy a figure from the United States, say a chase variant, a regular variant, a yawn trap, whatever it might be, since I would be exporting that item from the US, the tariffs don't even affect the price I would pay whatsoever. It is the same now as it would have been last year. To put it simply, despite all the big scary talk, the tariffs don't really affect buyers anywhere in the world who might be looking at listings from overseas. Unless you're American. If you are American, all of the big numbers I've just said and shown are real and can hurt you. Anything you're looking to buy from another country will quite simply need to have whatever the tariff amount comes to paid before you can collect your order. Hello, this is very late night editing Prongobbles. I have only just found out, pretty much as I was about to post this video, which kinda sucks, that the tariff rates are actually only applied if the total cost of an item is over, or the total cost of an order is over $800 US. Which I actually didn't know. So you'll see me talking about in this video, whenever I mention that anything from overseas has the tariff applied, that's anything from overseas over $800 US. And that 800 is the cost, the initial cost, and the shipping combined. It is worth saying again, anything you're looking at from within the US will of course be the same price as ever, but Once you're looking at overseas listings and overseas listings only, that becomes a different story. The way I understand it will work is that buying the product and shipping will cost the exact same. However, before you're able to actually pick up that product or have it delivered, you'll need to pay the tariffs separately. Of course, not being American, I can't know exactly how it'll work, or whether sites like eBay will tell you how much you'll have to pay due to the tariff. It does mean that buying a Chase variant from, say, Germany, or most countries that might usually have a competitive Chase listing, one that might usually be, say, $800 will now cost you $880 in total. Again, it isn't known if the current 10% tariff will stay as is beyond this 90-day period. It might jump back to 20% if we're using Germany as an example, which was the rate originally set for the European Union, or it might become nullified entirely. Something else to consider will be the impact on markets like AliExpress. While I've never heard of anyone buying Skylanders off of AliExpress, if you're looking to get NFC cards and/or writers, that used to be one of the better places to look. China's tariffs now total 145%. But for imports under $800, which realistically will be anything you're looking to buy off of AliExpress in one go, it seems that the rate is ever so slightly lower at 90% or $75. Probably whichever is higher. I haven't been able to find anything entirely definitive on that, but that's the figure that I've been able to find for the moment. I'll state it again, that especially since these tensions are so high, that number and that rate might change quite a lot, quite quickly. But for now, and in future, if you do your own research and find the new rates, keep it in mind when shopping on AliExpress or any marketplaces that have products that come directly from China. And just to close off, especially once this video becomes outdated, which it will be on you to research and pay the tariffs as an American, and to determine whether it's worth it for you to buy from other countries in the first place. It's not on the seller to refund you the amount or to discount their listing, or even to know what the extra cost for you is going to be. As a short summary, the gist of it really, if you're outside of the United States, nothing for you is going to change. If you're inside of the United States, buying things from overseas, most of the time will have an extra 10% cost. Anything coming directly from China looks like it'll have a 90% added cost, or $75, whichever the higher number is. But if you're in the United States and buying stuff from within the United States, if you're just, looking at Facebook Marketplace listings or anything within the country, nothing changes. And that's really my understanding of it all as of right now. I am personally pissed off at the government of the States for making changes to all of this the day after I thought I had finished my script, and making me go back, do more research, and rewrite it. I have reason to believe that they did it purely to fuck with me, and me alone. Other than that, I really can only pray that none of this has been entirely false. I'll have a video linked from a major Aussie reseller explaining tariffs from, a seller-based point of view, because this has been ideally for consumers and buyers. And as well as that, I'll have all of my sources in the description, which you will have seen the images coming up from. Other than that, from me in the future, maybe more Skylanders stuff, maybe not. Subscribe anyway, I'm half retired, I don't care, but you will do it because I asked you to really nicely.